Cool. We got some people coming in already. That's always good. If you can give me a thumbs up, let me know how the audio and the visual is doing for you. All right, looks like we got some more people joining the chat. This is awesome. Hopefully the video and the audio chat, audio quality is pretty good. How's everybody doing today? How you doing, Brent? You guys getting some cold weather down there? We're just above zero up here in Canada today. Casey, how's it going? Everything good, bud? Yeah, up here in Canada right now, we're right around the high of today is supposed to be 6 degrees. So it went down below zero last night. And I mean, 6 degrees, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's probably somewhere around, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's find out, actually. Yeah, it's 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Just a little over 30. It's supposed to be the high. It's not quite there yet. Was going to go out and do some band testing today, but yeah, it's only 3 right now. It's kind of hard to get out and do some band testing when it's when it starts getting this cold, and we got big winds too. Oh, from the Czech Republic. Cool. How you doing, man? Joseph? Everybody getting out and doing some shooting today? Hey, Brent, with all that cold weather down in Montana, you guys must be having some, those big bucks must be coming down from the hills. Might be a good time to get up there with a bow, do some hunting. All right, we got people coming from everywhere. How you doing, Igor? From Belgium. Very cool. Everybody out there shooting today? Getting your practice in? Oh, man. Very nice. I had my bow out last weekend. It's just the tail end of bow season up here in Canada now, and I got my bow all. I don't know if I want to say sighted in yet. I'm good to about 30 yards so far. I bought a brand new bow last year, but with the eye surgery and everything that I was going through last year, I never got out to the range to shoot it. So last weekend, me and a friend of mine, we went out to the range, and I got it sighted in, but I forgot my Allen key for my lateral adjustment for my sight. Ended up going out, doing some shooting, still hit some bullseyes though, which was pretty nice. But after 2 or 3 shots, my sight started hopping to the left, which means I was shooting to the right, and I had to make some corrections. But I was still popping a 40 millimeter sticker target from 30 meters away. I was hitting 2-on-4. So I think probably once I get back out there again, I'm able to lock that guy down. I should be spot on for 40 meters. We'll see. But they're going to be closing the outdoor range here soon, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to make it for this season. Yeah, Casey, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm trying to get my shots in with the slingshot while I'm cooking dinner off my deck on that target, and basically what I'm able to squeeze in any time at all because I'm so busy lately. I'm trying to get to the archery range and get my my new compound bow all tuned up and ready to go. For the most part, shooting real nice, but I just wasn't able to get it sighted in. I forgot one of my tools last time I went. I would have been good to go otherwise, but it is what it is. Jordan, I wish I could help you with the shirt, bro. Oh, Brent, how is that pendulum thing? I'm curious. I've been looking at it for the longest time. The moving parts kind of freak me out a little bit. Although I have to say, the pendulum seems to be a really damn good slingshot. But how does the build quality feel? Hey, Sean, how's it going? Leon, how you doing, bro? Yeah, I have a recurve too, Casey. I have it's a Samick Sage takedown recurve. I was pretty damn good with it before. When I went back out, I hadn't shot my bow in like a year, so I was having a little bit of trouble with it. But I got it dialed in. I tend to be a bit of a string walker, so I shoot tabs, and I don't know. I was doing pretty good, but I picked up some weird problem with it the last time. I kept on shooting left for some reason, and I don't know what the deal was. But I was using different arrows than usual. The arrows that I bought this time, um, I wanted to get some that I can actually screw some broadheads into it, or some judo points if I wanted to go do some rabbit hunting with it. But I don't know. These new arrows that I got for it, they don't seem to be working all that good, even though they're just about the same thing as the ones I was using before. But I don't know. I got to figure it out. Oh, cool concept, Jordan. Jordan is saying he wanted to talk to me about creating a face anchor point sticker tab that you can put on your face to have a more precise anchor point every time. Well, I don't know if that would be legal in tournament style shooting, but I think for anybody who's starting off with the sport, that's actually a pretty good idea. There's a lot of times, even now, sometimes I struggle with an inconsistent anchor point. Sometimes you end up touching the same spot so many times that it becomes kind of numb after a long shooting session that you end up going a little bit left or a little bit right or up or down, and those little minor adjustments make a big difference sometimes in your shooting and your accuracy. That might be something interesting to try out. Man, So the Brant says that the Pandolins seems to be pretty sturdy. It does have moving parts, like the forks will kind of swing out. It'll go into a compact little thing, but it turns out that it seems to be zero play in the forks, and the slide clips are very secure. Damn it, man! Now I'm gonna have to get one, I think. Jordan also got a S7 torque from Snipersling. I'm a little disappointed in the bands. Snipersling out of the the new. You find they slip out of the new clip design. I wonder if it makes a difference in the. I wonder if it makes a difference between the thickness of the band. Like maybe it holds on to a 0.6 better than it would to a 0.45 or something. I don't know. Maybe it makes a difference. I haven't tried any of those ones where they have like that little switch. You just kind of click it down. The S7 when it first came out, I was thinking about getting it, but I tend to struggle with frames that have the forks too close to my hand. Like if they're too short, I'll show you an example of that later when we get into my little Snipersling collection here. But I find that when I'm holding the frames, if the forks are too close to my hand or not long enough per se, I end up having to turn my forks. I'll show you with this one. I find I have to, instead of holding the forks perfectly parallel over each other, I have to kind of cock it like this. Otherwise, I shoot far left all the time. I haven't figured out why that is yet. I've been trying to figure it out, but it's tough. Sean McPhee says, do you think a piece of straight hardwood and band it up over the top on both sides with a piece of string between the bands to knock the arrow would work? Piece of straight hardwood and bend it up over the top of both sides of a piece of string. So what are we talking about? Like, say if you took like a 2x4, for example, a long 2x4, put some elastic with a rope in the center to knock your arrow, and like maybe drill a hole through the center of it to fire the arrow through. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. I know GZK has been actually back in the day. I don't know. I've never really seen anything like a stick sling like Casey's talking about. I've never seen anything like that before. I'd have to do a little bit of research. But if we're talking about just like attaching a band and pulling it back and shooting it right over the top, I can imagine that being extremely dangerous. Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would do that. But I have shot some sling. Well, we'll call them Slingbows, I guess. Before, way back, I used to be a member of this thing called the Pathfinder Learning Center. I used to go there. I used to do a lot of survival stuff and bushcraft and all those things. And Dave Canterbury and his father put together this really cool. It was an old style slingshot that they attached a whisker biscuit through the center of it. And a buddy of mine split on one, and we were shooting arrows all over the place. He wanted something that he could use to shoot arrows in the woods without having to carry a big bow with him and all this stuff. But it did a pretty good job. I mean, that thing was sending some arrows really quick. We were sticking broadheads into pallet wood, no problem. And like to the point where we had to unscrew the arrow, leave the broadhead in, and we couldn't get it out. Yep, there is only one way to find out. That's for sure. I would definitely, if you're going to be playing around with anything like that to shoot arrows or whatever it is, you're definitely going to need to have some kind of thing to hold the arrow in place before you shoot it. So putting a whisker biscuit on the end or anything like that would definitely be an absolute must to control where that arrow is going to go. Northeast Slingshots, how you doing, bro? Yeah, it would definitely be powerful. I think if you can get some really stinky bands on there, like a 0.8 or a 1 millimeter even, you definitely get some flying. Yeah, but Northeast Slingshots, I've been crazy busy lately, man. It's just been insane with work and home and trying to get the house ready for winter. And once again, we had a storm not too long ago, blew a huge chunk of my roof off. Pissed me off. We just had it happen not too long ago, and it happened again. So anyway, it's been a scramble trying to get a roofing company in here to come and fix it before the winter starts. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I'm hoping that tar paper is going to hold on for the winter before spring. It's just going to be a bad situation all the way around. We've had three or four storms, I think, this year that got over 100-kilometer-hour winds and just fucking beat the shit out of my house. It sucks. What do I think? Snipersling S Ace, right here. This is the first one of my collection that we're going to be talking about today. What can I say about these things? It's a very simple design. Clipped, easy to set up, super light, super pocketable, and they're just nice to shoot. All in all, I like my S Ace. It's a nice little frame, and yeah, you can't really go wrong. Actually, this one here I won from Chris Graffin's giveaway on Catapult Carnage website, or one of his giveaways on his videos. It was pretty nice. But the S Ace, if you're looking for a small pocketable EDC style frame, you really can't go wrong, and they're all pretty well built. Simon, how you doing, bro? But also, just to give you one thing I will say about the S Ace, since we're on that topic right now, this is a great frame. It'll do everything you need. But if you got big man hands like me, you might find it to be a little bit on the small side. So you could take it a step up if you want and get the S Punisher, just to show you real quick. Basically the same fork design. Actually, it is the same fork design. Everything is the same. Fork widths are the same. Fork sizes are the same. Everything like that. But it does have this little wedge on the bottom here. And I think it's a reel on Instagram, possibly, or Facebook, where I do some shooting with the S Punisher, and then I pop a beer open with it. But it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit longer. You can see at the bottom there, but it gives you a little bit of an extra to put your hand on if you want to do some shooting, and it's pretty nice. So the S Punisher, I think I prefer the S Punisher to the S Ace, although they're pretty much an identical slingshot, except for it doesn't have that little point on the bottom like the Punisher does. Just food for thought. It's also a little bit more expensive because it does have a titanium handle instead. S Torch. I'm gonna have to see these. I gotta say, I'm sure some of you guys have seen my S Robin review that I did. One of the most amazingly built slingshots I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible. There are so many in their handmade slingshot sections that I want. To be honest, I want them all. And whenever I get some cash, I've been looking at the S Lizard. There's a few of them. I got to check out what the S Torch is all about, but I'm not much of a TTF shooter. But there's so many nice ones that they have on that website, man. It blows my mind. Oh, it's absolutely brutal. I'm gonna make him a rich man because there's so many of those stupid frames that I want. I just love them all. There's so many nice ones. Saltwater fishing lures. How you doing, bro? Is that Mr. Ryan over there? Cheers, bro. Yes, sir. Mr. Ryan. How you doing, buddy? So I guess we could probably kind of inch our way over to the third item. So for those of you just joining, I was showing some of my my Snipersling frames. We got the S Ace. We got the its bigger brother, I guess we'll call it, the S Punisher. I've actually got these banded up with some Jinpu bands and a pouch that I got from my buddy Gasper. Pretty nice pouch. And the Jinpu bands are not bad. Not bad at all. But you're talking sea bass, right, Ryan? You're out there fishing some sea bass? You know, I've never fished in the ocean. I'd really got to give that a try one of these days. I do a lot of freshwater fishing and ice fishing in freshwater, but I've never actually fished out in the ocean before, and it's definitely on my bucket list. I almost did it a couple of years back. Well, more than a couple, I guess 10 years back now, when we went to Cuba. But the amount that they were charging, for the boat ride and the fishing was just it was absurd. It was something around $500 American, which was like $6,000 Canadian. I just couldn't do it. Oh, bro, if I ever make it to the UK, you're one of the first people I'm going to hit up and say hi to for sure. It would be awesome to get out and do some fishing with you and have a beer after. It would be fantastic. Maybe even a fish fry. So, number 3, my third, is the S Ace. Now, I think out of all the aluminum frames, this one was probably one of my favorites. I like that the handle's a little bit longer. I like that the forks are a little bit wider, so I don't have to worry about my fingertip getting into that hole there. And I was amazed at how well this thing shot right out of the box. I got this guy, took it out of the box, went out into the backyard, and I shot it. So that video that you saw was pretty much my first shots ever with this thing, and I kicked ass with this frame. I really enjoy it. And the slim profile too, everything about it, it's slim. It's got some canted tips on there. It's a great little slingshot all the way around. And you got some goodies you can carry in the bottom in that little reservoir down at the bottom. Shoots like a boss. Can't go wrong. Yep. This is the S airship. Airship it's called, not the Ace. This is the Ace. Yeah, S airship's pretty awesome frame. Any of you other guys has any of you guys tried the S airship yet? Greg, what's going on, bro? I tend to squint my left eye. Northeast Slingshots asked me if I shoot with one eye or both eyes open. I tend to squint with my left eye. I do keep it open slightly, just to give me a little bit of a depth perception, but I don't want to bring in too much. I don't want to bring in too much. I don't know what you call it, background stuff or whatever it is. I tend to be a little bit ADD-ish, and I'm looking all over the place. So I try to squint my left eye just to block out some of it, so my fork tip gets nice and sharp, whatever I'm putting it on. That's basically what I do. What is the cheapest out of all of these, or the Snipersling, or out of the clip frames that I have, or that we're talking about? I think the cheapest out of all these is most likely the S Ace. I think it's coming in around $50, somewhere around there. Good news, Greg. Hey, how's that shooting been doing for you? Are you enjoying that frame? Oh, any frame. I don't know. There's lots of cheapies on Amazon or whatever it is that you can get that are clipped. I tend to be a little weary of a lot of those frames that are, I guess, not made by Slingshot people. Some of the quality issues I think can be kind of sketchy. Like I've seen a few horror stories of these frames online. The people were shooting with them, and the forks broke off and hit them in the face and whatever. So I tend not to go too cheap with some of these frames. I much prefer to buy things from guys like, especially if I'm buying from China, I like to buy from GZK or Snipersling or slingshooting.com. They seem to be reliable quality places to buy from. Thanks, bro. It's one of those. It's that kind of year. 2022 is a fuck it year, that's for sure. Yeah, man. I shot when I was starting out. One of the first frames I got was the Scout LT. I think it was like the second or third frame I ever bought was a Scout LT. I wasn't a big fan of the snipers of the simple shot bands that came with it. They were like 0.7, I think. I think it was 0.7. I'm pretty sure. And I thought it was like shooting with like a rubber bicycle tire. I really, really didn't like them. The 0.5 Snipersling simple shot's really nice, but I ended up switching to GZK, and GZK's point yellow bands are still right up there with some of my favorites. They shoot fantastic. They didn't have the weird snapping problems that I was getting with the green. Just these random band pops that I was getting. The yellow shoot almost as fast, and they're pretty damn good, and they last a long time. That's one thing I'll give GZK yellow. Longevity is fantastic. Yeah, Brent. Very true. Brent says Smoke Slings has got some awesome stuff. I tried 2 recently from Smo. Actually 3. He's using the clips from Wasp on his frames now. Which, if you ask me, any clips you buy for any kind of frames, Wasp are some of the best. Simple, one screw to lock them down. They hold really well. I've never had one slip. They're low profile. They don't add too much weight, not much chunkiness. And I believe Smo is actually putting those on. Is Sasquatch? Actually, I think it's all his frames. I think you just have to ask him, and he'll set you up. But he's got the Rougarou, and what's the other one? I can't remember the name of the other one, but I think the Rougarou is the one with the sweeping down handle, and the other one has a sweeping up handle, and it's a design from Chucking Steel that he's got Jordan making them for him, and the one with the sweeping up handle is an amazing frame. I did a review on both of the Rougarou and the other one, which I can't remember the name of. Fantastic, and if you haven't tried his either Sasquatch or his Yeti or the Chupacabra, I think is the other one. All 3 of those fantastic frames. Just great designs. And they're really cheap. Check out Smoke Slings, Ryan, if that's what you're looking for. Damien, simple shot pouches can double as hammocks. They're that big. Truth. Absolutely true. if you're shooting really heavy ammo, like 11 millimeter or something like that, it's not so bad. But if you're an 8 millimeter shooter like me, oh my God, those things are way too long. The one thing I'll say about simple shot pouches too is when you first get them, they're so stiff. It takes a long time for them to loosen up. But actually, when they break in after a zillion shots, they actually feel kind of nice. There's enough thickness there to shoot. I just wish that they were probably maybe a centimeter and a half shorter. That would have made a big difference on those pouches. All right. So I guess we'll go into the next Snipersling frame I got going on here. So for those of you just joining, we got the S-Ace, we got the Punisher, got the S-Airship, which is another awesome frame, and then we'll go to the S-Robin. The S-Robin is one of the most comfortable frames I've ever put in my hand, especially for something that's got like an offset and a pinch grip, which I don't shoot very often, but oh man. And I got this one dressed up in some Gong Chi too. Just awesome, awesome stuff. If you guys don't have an S-Robin, you really should get one. And I got to tell you, the fit and finish on Snipersling frames, I've never felt or seen anything that comes anywhere close to that. Not even close. Their fit and finish is awesome. Whoever's doing the building over in China for Min really knows what he's doing. Oh, man. And these Gong Chi bands too, man. Ooh, serious stuff. Look at that. What a beautiful frame. And it's crazy. You can drag your nail anywhere, and you're not catching anything. It's just perfection. Absolute perfection. So I've heard some people in the comments saying that the handmade frames from Snipersling are a little bit on the pricey side, and they are. I'll say that. But when I go out and I'm buying other frames and I'm seeing them out there and they're selling some of these things for, I don't know, $80, $90, $100, and you get them and you're kind of like, yeah, they're pretty good. The quality that you're getting from these handmade slingshots from Snipersling are off the hook. It's really insane, the quality. It's just, I don't know what to say. There's other people out there that are selling frames or slingshots for way more for probably the same quality. Just my opinion. Really? You seen one? That's crazy. Next time Snipersling seems expensive, look at Jim Jeffries' prices. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the guys out there. I was looking around for a slingshot. I'm not going to go into naming anybody's names. I don't want to ruin anybody's businesses. But I saw their slingshots. I loved it. I asked him for the price of it. He told me it was $600. $600, and that was even depending on 600 US, which is $1,000 for me in Canada. It's $1,000. No way. Sorry, but no way. But I have to say, when we're talking John Jeffries, his Mustangs. I mean, he's another guy who does some great work. But I'm not. I just can't bring myself to spend that much money for a slingshot. I can't do it. You're talking almost $1,000 for a slingshot in Canadian funds. That's crazy. That's like, man, that's a lot of work to get that kind of cash. And it's cool to have something nice, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you got the cash and you can spend on that kind of frame, go for it. But That's just I can't say that $1,000 say $1,000. I can't say that like a $600 frame would shoot better than this frame that's under $200. That's all I'm saying. I just don't find the value would be in it for that price. That's an AR-15 and 500 rounds. Is that true? Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, Northeast Slingshots. Okay, where are we at here? So we've got the S Ace, S Punisher, S Airship. We got the S Robin. And can I get a drum roll, please? I got broken bands on here, so don't hate on me too much. Backyard Sims, yeah. His cheapest Mustang picked for $200 US. I'm sorry, but I'm a hobby builder. Build my own. Yeah. So this here is the S Vortex from Snipersling. I'm going to give you a close up on this one. Let's see if we can get these bands off. Forgot my no, that's not. Oh, there's one. There's two. Okay. Let's give you a close up of this guy. Hopefully this is clear. But once again, look at this. Give you a quick turn. See what everything looks like there. Nice looking lanyard with a little bead on there with the same materials it's made out of. I don't know if you know what you call this thing, but it kind of looks like I don't know, like some kind of crazy psychedelic snake pattern or something. It's really cool. It seems small, but it actually fits my hand completely and it's comfortable. You got a pinky hole and another hole here that you can stuff 2 fingers in. I think this would be absolutely perfect for my hand if I was able to get it for a centimeter longer and they made this hole just a little bit bigger. It would have been absolutely perfect. But what a cool looking frame. It shoots pretty nice too, but I do have the same problem with this one as I do with some other frames that have the shorter forks, is I do have to cock my hand slightly just to get on target straight. I don't know why that is, but it is the case. I will be doing a review on this guy someday pretty soon. Depending on the weather, we'll see how it goes and if time allows. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, look at this. Again, I don't know if you can hear that. You can't catch anything with your nail. Everything is perfectly smooth and even. No scuffs, no nicks, no nothing in it. It's just like it's flawless. It's flawless. The two frames that I have from Snipersling that are their handmade frames are absolutely flawless. There is nothing on them at all. Look at that. It's an absolute beauty. Yeah, buddy, the Vortex. Damien, which ones do you have, man? He says, I'm lucky enough to have 2 and the third arriving Monday. I bought 1 new one and 2 of them are secondhand mint condition. Backyard Slingshots, how you doing, bro? Frameless video. I've tried some frameless shooting. It's pretty cool. I actually like it. I put it down after a while because I had my bands. I was taking some shots and I somehow caught the tip of my finger, which kind of sucked. But for the most part, it shot pretty well. So besides the all the Snipersling frames, which I tend to cycle in and out of my rotation quite often, I think probably the one that I shoot the least is probably the S8, only because I find it a little bit on the small side, but it's still a fun shooter, and it's you can really lock it on target with them, no problem. I did recently get another new one from ProShot Catapults. This is not a Snipersling frame, obviously, but this is called the Canter. Look at this thing. And it's actually designed to hold this way. And you kind of point off a little bit. It's got 85 millimeter fork tips, and it's designed to have a nice straight wrist. I don't know if you can see that. It's designed to shoot with a nice straight wrist, pointing your wrist straight. In that respect, it's actually pretty comfortable. But I don't know. I was going to do a review on this guy, but I seem to be having a hard time with it. I just don't think it fits me very well. So I think I might actually put this guy into a raffle in the upcoming future. This is number 146. It's been sold. It's in great condition. No frame hits, no nothing. But I think this is going to end up going into a raffle. It's not quite for me, but the quality and the fit and finish on this thing was just fantastic. They did a great job polishing this guy up. All 90 millimeters wide. Wow. I know I bought the FTC from Wasp, trying to just to get a feel with it. I was really considering getting a Mustang, but I don't really like 85 millimeter frames. I can't say I don't like them. I just find I have to adjust a lot. 90 millimeter though, wherever I put that fork, I'm hitting, and that's what I like. That I can do. Yeah, the FTC is a really nice frame. I just wish that it was 90 millimeter forks. It would have been perfect for me. 85, I tend to struggle a little bit, I guess. I just have to aim a little bit lower, but for the most part, it works out pretty good. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Backyard Slingshots. Hope to see you again soon in one of the upcoming live frames. We chat again. Take it easy, bro. But two frames that I've been shooting a lot with lately. You guys know the Cygnus from Prime Fork. Absolutely love this frame. Probably my favorite frame, right up there with the Companion and the Titan Hunter medium. This is another wonderful little frame. Shoots fantastic. Really quick. With these bands on here, I got some, I think it's Gongchi on here. I'm pretty sure that there was a oh, look at that. Got some holes in this bad boy. I should be careful. I'm pretty sure that there was an error in the shipment the last time I got the Gongchi, because I've got Gongchi on this guy and the Gongchi on these. Exact same length, exact same everything. The Gongchi on these are much lighter than the Gongchi on this. So I think maybe they mixed up 0.6 with 0.5. I think that's what happened. Not entirely sure. Either way, they shoot nice, so I can't complain too much. But I've been shooting my Cygnus quite a bit. I got to get some new bands on that thing though. Just notice that now, got holes in the front there. And another frame too, I've been shooting quite a bit, trying to get into shape, because I was planning on doing a hunting video very soon, but I'm having another hard time getting freaking land to go to. I have to go to Ontario to be able to hunt with a slingshot, but it seems, I've been doing some poking around. It seems that all the land that's close enough to my area for me to be able to go and do some hunting is surrounded by private land, and they won't let me cross their land. The guy's like, oh, if you want to cross my land, I'll let you cross it, but you're gonna have to pay $100. to cross my land to go there. And I politely told the guy to go fuck himself. And so here I am with my HGH, which I wanted to be my first hunting video. And the interesting thing is there's something about this style handle. You see how these handles are very, very similar? This Cygnus is basically built off the, is designed after the Stanley. Started off with these style handles. And the HGH is actually designed after Matt Redding's and Wayne Martin's designs. It's kind of like a co-design. They took the handle of Matt Redding and took the forks of the Evo and kind of stuck them together. But I'm pretty sure that this handle is something very similar to the Stanley, the original Stanley, and this is very, very nice. But I ended up trying some Salinzi 8 bands on here to shoot some 8mm, and it turns out that I cut them a little bit long, so having a little trouble keeping my shots down range. They were dropping off a little bit, but HGH is another fantastic frame. It's got some good weight on it too. How many frames do I own? Greg Corbett wants to know. Well, man, I really don't know. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 here. Probably another 50 or so downstairs in my basement. I got them all over the house, actually. I'm kind of like a squirrel. I just cache them all over the place. But I don't know. I guess around 50 or so. Some of them I've made myself. Some of them are I don't know, bought frames, frames sent to me for reviews, that kind of thing. But I got a whole bunch here. My Evo with red hot bands. How are those hot bands? I've been thinking about getting some in here and doing some testing, but I think I'm gonna pump some brakes on those band tests during wintertime, because some people are actually seeing the speeds and they're kind of like, it's giving them a bad rap. And even on these band tests, like some of my favorite bands that I've done testing on aren't the fastest ones. Like the fastest bands I've ever tested is Snipersling Black. They're super fast, 0.5. My God, they're fast. But I much prefer to shoot the yellow, and I shoot the yellow better than I do the black. And they're still pretty fast. So, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of want to try those red shot bands, but I just wish that he offered them in from point, like say 0.5 up. But I think it's only 0.7, 8, 9, something like that. I think he has them in those styles. Do I have a slingshot? Hold on. Birdshot shell style. I don't know what that is. Hello from Ohio. Do you have apple green precise? I think I do. I don't think I've done a review on them yet. I have to go and check. I think I have some 0.45 precise. I might be full of shit though. I got a lot of bands. I'm pretty sure I have it though. I'm pretty sure. They're pretty nice. I actually have some 0.52. Oh no, that's what bands are those? It's Sunki I have that's a 0.5, and those are green. Now I gotta go check. I'm pretty sure I have it. Precise makes some good bands. One of my favorites when I was starting out was actually the 0.65, the natural color. Did some great shooting with those things with 9.5 millimeter steel, and they're not they're not the fastest bands out there, but out of the 0.6 that I've tried for 0.65 that I've tried for a long time, out of many different brands, that was actually had the nicest draw, and I did the best shooting with those bands for a long time, and I still pull them out from time to time. Has anybody out there tried any of the Jinpu bands from Precise yet? I've got two different sizes. I've got 0.5 and I've got 0.45, and I think I prefer the 0.45 to the 0.5, but both bands are really fast. They both shoot really well, and I think that out of the two of them, they're just about the same speed, if I remember correctly, except for the Jinpu. The 0.45 has a lighter draw, which to me is it directly affects your accuracy, which is kind of nice. I think out of all the 4.45 bands that I've tried, I think probably the BSB 0.45 is my favorite uh, for for speed versus versus draw, that whole ratio there. I think probably the BSB is my favorite. But the only thing is, I find when BSB breaks, it breaks weird. It doesn't actually. It's kind of like this one here. I'll show you. I had one. Oh, I just tore it off. But see how this one broke? This is actually Snipersling yellow, but I know why it broke. It's because I got it caught in a zipper. But I find the BSB always breaks this way. All the other bands that I've ever tried, when they start tearing here, they just tear off in a little square. They snap off and that's it. It's gone. But this one, um, because I got it caught in a zipper, it just snapped. I gave it a little test pull in it, and it shredded like this. But my BSB bands, my 0.45 BSB bands, always snap like that. I don't know why. Kind of strange. The only thing I don't like about it is if they snap and you're on the draw. Luckily, this one was on the bottom, but when you're pulling back on the draw, that little strip comes by and gives you a whack in the face. I don't know why they do that. So whenever I start seeing any kind of anytime I see any kind of nick, chip, scuff, or scratch in my bands when I'm shooting BSB, they're gone. There's no shooting them until they let go. The only thing I'll say, Greg, from what I've seen, um, even way back, when I was starting out a couple of years ago, the fastest bands that I've ever tested for, um, I guess we'll say 9.5 millimeter steel and an 8 millimeter steel was 0.5. I find the thinner bands have a faster retraction rate. So when I was trying to get better speeds, what I started doing was actually making wider tapers. So let's say, for example, I took, say I was shooting the HGH here. I could actually take a band set and do a 27 to 15, for example, and I'm chucking heavy steel with that pretty well. Not bad with 0.5 band. So I'm getting that light draw. With um, with good speeds, which adds to accuracy, everything all the way around. Now, of course, there's other things like, you know, if you get into the cold or if you're shooting 11 mil steel, for example, it's going to make a difference. But one of the first and fastest bands that I ever tested was GZK Green. When I tested that band set out, I was hitting 275 feet per second with 9.5 millimeter steel with a taper of 24 to 12. That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick. Those are hunting speeds with 0.5 bands. Not a problem. Now, shooting 11 mil steel, you'd see a major drop off in speed because of the weight, but it made a big difference with 0.5 bands. I haven't had any 0.6 or 0.7 bands beat those speeds of Snipersling 0.5 black or GZK green. I haven't had any of those other bands, heavier bands, beat those speeds until I tried Snipersling 0.7 black. And those were really fast. I was hitting 315 feet per second with 9.5 millimeter steel, which is stupid fast. But I had those bands maxed out and they weren't lasting long. It was the same thing with the 0.5 bands. They're not lasting long. But if I'm able to get 100 shots and I'm going for a hunt and it costs me a band set, but I know for sure that I'm going to pass a piece of animal through an animal's head with that, it's going to be dead for sure. I don't care if it only lasts me 100 shots. It doesn't bother me at all. I just want to make sure that I'm getting the fastest speeds with the lightest draw weight I can possibly get. And that does it. Cheers, Brent. My favorite band setup is actually what's on this right now. And it's Gongchi White 0.5. I taper them from 22 to 12. They shoot really, really well. And I tend to use a kangaroo style leather pouch, which is probably my favorites. Wes Mitchell makes some amazing pouches. I've tested out a few of them. They're fantastic. And when I did my little pouch video talking about pouches, I tested out one of his for the first time, and it was absolutely lovely. I also really, really like Warrior Mongol pouches. They're one of my favorites. Although I prefer, out of all of them, I prefer the blue ones, but I'm having a hard time getting them, and I need some more. But anyway, it is what it is. Shaggy, really? You use those? The what do you call them? The swimming caps? It actually makes sense because those things they stretch quite a bit. So I bet you they shoot pretty fast. What's the life on those things like? I know when we were kids, we used to mess around making slingshots out of tree branches. I mean, it's not like I ever shot them very often or whatever. It was like one day we did it, but we found an old bicycle tube inside of the garbage, and we cut out some bands out of this bicycle tube, and we were chucking rocks pretty far with it. I mean, nothing exciting really, but never thought about using the swimming caps for that. That's actually kind of genius. But anyway, to get back to what Greg was saying is, I don't think I think some companies are actually coming out with some better bands. We're seeing a lot more brands coming out now that are shooting faster, and it seems to be the trend where everything is going to quicker. But as they're going quicker, you're also getting heavier draws, which I think is a drawback. But in the end, whether you're target shooting or you're hunting or you're just having fun, in the end, you want to be able to have the best chance to hit what you're shooting at. And if you're one looking to hit stuff, you got to have a lighter draw. It's going to allow you to stay more steady and firm in your posture. So that's why I ended up dropping down from 0.65 to 0.5. I mean, if I'm shooting 250 feet per second with a 9.5 millimeter steel and with 0.5 bands, it's good enough for me. Especially if I'm target shooting, it doesn't really matter. And that's why I actually like Silenziate bands so much. These are another Precise product. The draw on these guys are so light, it's just crazy. And you can just pretty much stack your shots on a target, no problem. Damon Lay, you tested condoms for bands? How did those work out? Yeah, you get a lot of that. It is very similar to marketing. The marketing of the bands versus with archery, same kind of deal. Everything's about speed. I know there's a part of me that wants to actually drop the band tests altogether. Although I'm not going to do it because I think it's good for the channel. It's good for the sport for people to know what's out there. But when you have a real look at some of the bands that are out there, I mean, for me, I go for performance over longevity every time. So really, if I'm getting like 250, 300 shots out of a band set, I'm happy. But they have to be consistent. And when I say consistent, I mean band set to band set. If I'm cutting it the same, I want it to feel exactly the same. And roll by roll, when I order bands, I want to make sure that when I get these rolls in, they feel the same as the previous roll. This is why I went away from GZK Green back in the day. Was I always tested my my elongation of my elastic. So I draw a centimeter on there, I stretch it over my grid, and I see what they do. And I got one set that was actually stretching to 6.5, and then I got another set that was stretching to 5.5. And I was like, what the hell? They're both 0.5 bands. What's changed here? And when I got back out shooting them, they weren't the same. And the 5.5 bands had a heavier draw, and I was getting random weird breaks out of it, and I dipped from the GZK Green. Northeast Slingshots. The you prefer 0.7 Snipersling, but what is it? The black or the yellow you shoot? The 0.7 are seriously fast. What's a when you set up your bands and you draw? How much extra do you have on your draw? I know for me, I tend to cut extreme tapers, so all bands actually fill at the pouch. It doesn't really matter which ones we're talking about. Um, I find when I'm uh, tying up, yeah, I find when I'm tying up my bands, especially with the Snipersling Yellow, I have to make sure I use crystal string for one, and I usually do 10 wraps and I tie them real tight. As long as I have no slipping or movement in there, I never have a failure, a premature failure. I get many shots out of my Snipersling Yellow. I find that was the key with the black. Whenever I was shooting, oh, here we are. Try says, speaking of marketing, I'm a dedicated TTF shooter that hates universal tips. I'm not a big fan of those either, by the way. There are not many makers that have 90 millimeter fork tips for TTF. GZK is the only one that seems consistent. Most of them are 85. 85 does seem to be a standard. I don't know why. 85 or 95 seem to be more common than 90. I don't know what the deal is with that. I know when Wayne was brought out his Evo, the smaller version, it's 85 millimeters. I was hoping he would do one of 90, but he's like, what's the point? Well, for me, I like 90 millimeter frames. It's just my thing. I don't know why 85 and 95 seem to be more popular, but I mean, to each their own. It'd just be nice to have those options. But this is where the good thing is with Snipersling. If you buy a frame from Snipersling, they're all, we'll call them semi-custom. So if you want to have any adjustments made to them, you can go ahead and ask for that, and most of the time they'll do it. Like my S Robin here, I asked for an extra centimeter in the handle just to fit, and this thing fits perfect. I wish I would have done the same with this, although this one still holds pretty decently. But I would have liked to have an extra centimeter on this guy too. But it's possible. I could have had it longer, and I could have had it wider. So it's something to think about when you guys are looking to purchase slingshots, especially from guys like Snipersling or any of these other companies that do semi-custom slingshots. Like Prime Fork does the exact same thing. You can call up Andrew, for example, and he'll set up a frame for you. He'll ask you what length, what's the width, what's everything you want, and he'll set it up for you. You can get these semi-custom frames made at a reasonable price. Just something to think about. Yeah, I could do another video actually on frames that I've had my Prime 4 collection. It's a big collection. I should actually do that. Maybe I'll do that in my next live feed that I do. We'll go ahead and do a Prime 4 catapults collection. I'll show you all the frames I got from Andrew. I got a whole bunch. Love them. Great stuff. Actually, my all-time favorite frame is the Cygnus. I got that from Andrew. And actually, probably my number 2, number 3 in my top 5 for sure is also the Beagle. He made me a custom Beagle too that I absolutely love. Love that frame. And actually, there's a couple of guys that are on my VIP, the members. I sent out a video or a message talking to them about frames that I wanted to test out next. And actually, I tried getting the what do you call it, the Raptor from them, from Pro Shot Catapults, just to give one a try and see how it was. The RCC ones are way too expensive for me, but I couldn't get one. They were sold out. So I started poking around trying to see if there was another maker out there that can actually get me one of these guys. So I think I got a guy locked down for a semi-custom Raptor for a pretty reasonable price. So I think I'm going to get this one and do a review on it. What do you guys use for your fingertips? Now it's getting colder. I don't use anything. It's one of my superpowers. I can shoot. I mean, even when I go ice fishing, I usually clear the holes with my hands. I'm a freak like that. But the only thing I do try to do is in wintertime, I try not to shoot with metal frames. Metal frames are very conductive to the temperature, and you really feel the cold through them. But if you're going through a G10 or a wooden frame, they tend to insulate your hands a little bit better than the steel frames do. That's the only change I do. Actually, there's a guy called was it Micmac Warrior or something like that? His name's Len Lay. He does makes a lot of handmade slingshots, and actually he buys those those gloves that are kind of short fingers and the mittens kind of fold over the top. He actually does a lot of shooting with those in wintertime, and being able to keep most of your hand warm actually helps out keeping your fingertips warm too at the same time. Might be a decent option to give a try to. It won't be long now before we're into the minus 15s and 16s here, and minus 20 even in Canada. So basically, I'd like to know how you guys. I know how I deal with this kind of issue with my band speed, but what do you guys do? Keeping your speed up to the same, keeping your bands up to the same speed. Actually, this might even be a good video to do. Get the crony out in the backyard on a cold day, and we can talk about speeds that we want to keep going with. So when we change into wintertime, we're still shooting around the same speed. All right, Leon, thanks for stopping in, bro. Take it easy, man. I'll catch you on the next one. Zippo hand warmer. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, my friend. Yes. He says, hi, Mark. Have you seen Chris are now making the peep sights and a fiber optic for the Titan Hunter? I just saw it the other day. I commented on one of his posts. I love it. But you know what? I don't like the ones with the fiber optic sight. I find it actually gets in the way. Let me see if I can dig one up here. Okay, here. So I tend to shoot off where my band actually meets my frame. So back here. When you're aiming and you've got your fiber optic sight, I find the fiber optic sight actually blocks my shooting window. And I know it's only a small amount, but that small amount over a longer distance actually can shoot your shot off quite a bit. The one that Chris is making with actually the circle around the inside, I much prefer that one. I would love to shoot that because you're actually looking through, it's actually like looking through a peep sight. So when you're aiming down those bands, you're not being blocked by anything. So you're, instead of having the fiber optic in the way of what you're shooting, now you're seeing exactly what you want to shoot right in the center, and that lines perfectly up with the corner. Chris has got a great design there. I actually got to get some of those over at my house and give those a try. Yeah, I think for me personally, going forward on any of these frames that I'm going to be testing in the future, I will not be asking for those fiber optic sights. Just give me a straight cut, a nice clean corner to shoot off, kind of like on this HGH here. Just nice clean corner, and that gives me a perfect sight picture, and that's what I like anyway. The fiber optic sights, I think they're pretty cool. I think it's a good way to start off for people who are trying to figure out what their reference point's going to be. But once you got that locked in and you're shooting fine, you don't need that. I think it's just something that's going to inhibit you, except for those ones that Chris are making with the hollow hole in the center. I really like that idea. Actually, I'm kind of surprised it took so long for somebody to come up with something like that. It's actually a really good idea. Snipersling's killing me. They're going to make me a poor man. I'm telling you. With all these crazy innovative frames that they got coming out, with the quality that they're at, fit and finish is top notch. See again here, it's got one of those little fiber optic sights. Pretty cool. It lights up pretty nice, but I could do without it. Just give me a nice crisp corner. That's all I need. I'm gonna have to take a look at that S Desert too. There's a few of them that are out there that I like. I like quite a bit. Yeah, same with this one too. Just give me that crisp corner. Yeah, really nice. Yeah. So Northeast Slingshots asked me if I've seen the new Vortex that Snipersling's making with the brass and wood. It might be the sexiest damn thing I've ever seen. I'm telling you. I mean, the Vortex itself has got a cool shape, pretty nice looking. But the one with the wood and the brass, my goodness, it's nice. That's does it. 80, 85, or 90 millimeter fork tips. That's pretty sweet. That's nice. That's really nice. I know I've been looking at the S Lizard. There's so many of them that are nice. And Snipersling is they've got so many cool designs that are out there that you don't really see anywhere. Like the S Robin, really nice. S Vortex, S Lizard. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on. There's so many nice ones. I've always asked. I wanted to ask you this after watching Catapult Carnage. I've noticed over the years that he's adopted a fingertip release. Yeah, he seems to hold it like right up here, right? When he pulls back. Oh, I gotta be careful with this one. It's gotta. But I don't know if I haven't tried it. It just feels a little bit messed up. I actually like the I actually like to lock my shot in. I grip the ball, so when I'm holding it up on the finger, I got this like right along the bone here. I grip the ball right up here, and whenever I pull back, I want my pouch to look like this. It should stay open a little bit, and I find I get the best actual release that way. And that's how I do it. The only issue I have with the fingertip, I just find that if you want to have the most leverage with the least hand fatigue, it makes sense to hold it farther down. The more farther out you hold it out to, it could cause some more hand fatigue. But I mean, really, that's up to the shooter. And I mean, who's going to argue with Chris? That guy's a freaking legend. It might be worth taking a try. You see a lot of Asian shooters; they hold it back here with their fingertips, and they shoot quite well. Yeah, that's a good point by Northeast Slingshot. Says fingertip for 8 millimeter maybe, but 9.5 is tougher. Yeah, if you're going to be pushing heavier steel with heavier bands, gripping onto 0.8 bands with the fingertips, I can imagine that being really tough. Yeah, a lot of these guys that are out there shooting over in China and stuff, they do a lot of that. They pull it back here and they use the bands on the side of their face as a lineup. I've had a bunch of people tell me to shoot that way, but I've given it a go and it's not for me. I much prefer to anchor off my face. Yep. A lot of those speed shooters, they'll actually take the ball and they'll grip it like this, and they'll pull back and shoot that way. Um, Seems to work. Sumki bands. Troy mentioned Sumki bands. Here's my take on Sumki bands. Draw is really nice. Speed's great. Shoot great. 0.5 I've shot, and I think it's 0.45 I have here. The difference between 0.45 and 5 is greatly. It's really big between those two bands for Sumki. The 0.5 shoot really well, but I get random breaks with them. I've gone through 3 rolls of that stuff so far because I really like those bands, but I find them unreliable and I had to put them aside. The .45 is so light, it's ridiculous, and probably only suitable, in my opinion, for 1/4 inch steel or 6mm. Yeah, I tried doing that, testing out the speed shooting to see how many shots I can get, like in a minute or whatever. Man, speed shooting is not for me. I'm really slow. I used to have these can cutting contests with my son, and his volume his volume of shooting was really fast. Uh, he's really fast. He could shoot like, I don't know, 3 shots to my one, but my one shot was pretty precise. So it was an interesting shoot off that we used to have cutting those cans. I don't know if you guys seen those videos, but it was fun. Yeah, Sumki, that was my take on Sumki. Also, Greg, I was having problems with those. I know. I was shooting I think the .45 is a pink stuff, and I tried shooting that long draw. It wasn't so bad with 8mm steel, but for the most part, I'm not crazy about Suki bands. Although they shoot pretty well, but it's just I just the .5 shoot pretty well, but it just the random breaks was just too much for me. Do I anchor with a twist on my backhand? No, I don't twist. Basically, what I do is I take my thumb goes on the cheekbone, and it goes up. That's it. Maybe there's maybe a really slight twist to it. I don't do anything like this, nothing like that. I know some people do that. I don't. I just put my thumbnail on my cheekbone, stretch it out, and that's it. That's all I do. Uh, One thing I will say though is when I do shoot long draw, if I'm doing like a 3/4, I don't know. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. When I do a 3/4, I do tend to put a little bit of a twist in it and a speed bump off my thumb. Only in long draw though. If I do a full butterfly, my full butterfly is straight out. Try to keep my shoulders flat. I'm hitting the wall here, but try to keep my shoulders flat, and I line my arms up this way with my wrist. If you can see my wrist, is kind of like I put the ball right inside there, and usually because of the distance, if it's speed bumped a little bit, it's not the end of the world because it's got enough distance in the travel to correct any kind of mess, any kind of speed bump or deflection from the ball going over my bone. I did a video on this actually one time. Uh, Northeast Slingshot says, as a newer shooter, the most confusing part was the shooter's gap and learning to aim under the target. For a lot of shooters that are out there that have been used to archery or has started off in archery, they understand gap shooting. There's a whole bunch of different. There's some people talk about shooting instinctive. People talk about using aiming with their arrows, for example. We'll talk archery for a second here. And people who gap shoot. So basically, how far under a target you would have to aim at certain distances and so on, or above, for example. With slingshots, it's slightly different. a lot. This is part of the reason. Like I did a video a while back on anchor points versus frame widths and why I like shooting 90 millimeter frames is when I'm aiming with a 90 millimeter frame, wherever I put my fork tip compared to my anchor point is where it's going to land. Now, for example, if I'm shooting a 95 millimeter fork width, because the fork width is wider, I would end up shooting low. So at my anchor point, wherever I keep my anchor point, which is right on my cheekbone, when I line it up, because the fork width is wider on here, my shots would always end up going low. So there was two ways to adjust for this. Is one, I could change my anchor point down here to solve that issue of it aiming high, or I could just aim a little bit higher. So on an OTT frame, this is not an issue. So if I'm shooting, let's say I'm aiming at my eyeball and I'm shooting a 90 millimeter frame. I keep my fork tip right on my eyeball, I'm good. With a 95 millimeter fork, I'd have to lift it up and split my eyeball with the edge of the fork and then shoot. And that would solve it. So I basically aim down here a little bit. That would solve my distance. On an 85 millimeter fork width, we get into the whole gap shooting issue. So here we are with an 85. Let me grab this thing here. Here we are with an 85. I'm setting up a 90 millimeter fork would be right on my eyeball, just like this. An 85 millimeter fork width, I can't go up because I'm already shooting high with a smaller frame. So I'd end up having to drop it down and gap shoot it that way. Now, this is why I know some people will say, oh, you just change your anchor point, do this or that. I can keep going higher and higher on my eyeball if I want to. But when you start moving your anchor point around all the time, you get into issues having inconsistent anchor points. And depending on which frame you shoot, it can cause you problems. Yeah, you see, in the video that I did, Northeast Slingshot says, yes, my 85 millimeter is under the target about 4 inches at 10 meters, 1 inch at 12 meters. So this is the issue that I was trying to show in that video, was I kept my anchor point the same, and I changed from an 85 all the way up to 100 millimeter frame fork width, and showing what happened with the ammo as I was shooting. And it really kind of cleared it up, because I had no idea that anchor points and frames and widths or any of that affected anything. I just thought that, like, this is a good slingshot and this is a bad slingshot because I could shoot this one better than the other one. But I had no idea that it was actually because of the fork widths that was causing me the issue in relation with my anchor point. So basically what ended up coming out of it all was I shot that video trying to explain, so anybody new coming into the sport who was trying to figure out why this was causing issues would do it. So there was the video. That was the birth of it all. But it really does make a big difference, and I think it helps some people get over that hurdle when they're first starting out of why they could shoot this frame but not that frame, and so on. Yeah. Sorry to go off on a rant there, but yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me too. An epiphany hit one day, and that was it. I ended up shooting. I can't remember what frame it was I was shooting that had the sight on it. I think it was my what do you call that frame? It was one of the frame, the PFX or something like that. That I got from PFX or PFX2 that I got from Prime 4 Catapults. It had a sight on it. The frame was 85, but with the sight on it, it was 87. And I found that shooting off the sight, I was just a little bit high still. And then I grabbed my Beagle, which was a 90 millimeter frame, and I was dead back on again. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I went and grabbed a whole bunch of frames, and later on ended up shooting the video. Is it a wide fork gap or is it a wide fork with that the half cock target that sniper has? What's the exterior? Because I find for me gap doesn't make any difference at all for what I'm shooting at, as long as it's not too small for the fork to pass through like in a pickle fork. But for me, I don't really concern myself with the gap at all. I think it's more it's all got to do with the outside forks for me that makes the biggest difference. Try, you have no idea. He wrote, my epiphany was shooting my PPMG 100 millimeter frame. I've been asked to test out a PPMG so many times. I look at that frame and I'm like, man, that's a really cool frame. I want to try it out. The PPMG Plus, I love it. I'd love to own one. But the 100 millimeter fork width at my anchor point, if I'm shooting that thing, I'm not even going to hit my target. It's going to go right under it. That's the issue. I have a couple of one or two kits that I got from Gamekeeper John. One of them I did a video on. The other one I didn't bother. I built the frame. I finished it off. I sanded it up. I gave it a little burn with a torch. I made it look really cool. Got out and did some shooting with it. And at my anchor point when I was shooting at it, it was dropping below my catch box. The 100 millimeter frames are not for me. But if I could get my hands on one of those at 90, oh, buddy, I would love it. That 1 centimeter at the fork makes a huge difference at 10 meters. Yeah, maybe. Okay. LG says, I've been shooting .7 Snipersling yellow and I really like it. Me too. Will it be good in cold weather? Here's the thing. I did a cold weather test of .5 Snipersling, and apparently it's supposed to be good up to -13, they say, Celsius. I've done some shooting with it, and I found it really slowed down considerably in wintertime. I don't know what size ammo you're shooting. If you're shooting 9.5 or 11 mil steel with .7 Snipersling, you may want to go up in a size in winter or adjust your taper a little bit, make it a little bit beefier, just to have more juice to send your ammo down range. But it will slow down. But I mean, it depends on what kind of winter you're talking about. If winter for where you live means you're going to be in the single digits, like Celsius, like I am today, or if it means you're going to be going to -30, like we do in wintertime, you'll probably want to boost up your taper or your band thickness. The only way I can shoot it is using .66 GZK green, 25 to 12. I agree he needs to make a slim down line, but it seems he has gotten out of shooting like he used to. Yeah, I've seen Gamekeeper John. He's been doing a lot of fishing videos and stuff like that too. I don't know. I think after a long time of doing the same thing over and over and over again, you want to spice things up and make it a little bit more exciting for yourself. It makes sense. Even on my channel itself too, I've done a lot of band testing and all that stuff, and I'm getting kind of burnt out with the band tests. I'm still going to pop a couple of them in there, but I really want to start doing some more outdoor videos where I'm out in the woods doing some shooting, some cooking, that kind of thing. I love my slingshots; they're never going to disappear from my channel, but I want to mix it up a little bit, make them more enjoyable for myself. The band testing does kind of get boring after a while. Just doing them back to back to back to back to back all the time. It's just like, man, come on. I mean, you guys must be getting bored of that, I'd imagine, just seeing these videos like that. Yes, sir. Brother K is absolutely right. How you doing, bro? Lowest working temperature for Snipersling Yellow is -10 degrees. And he's from Finland. He would know. Yeah, I tested it. I can't remember if it was -13 or -15. I tested mine out, and it really slowed down quite a bit. Michael, Michael wrote, "I'm still learning on how tapers affect things differently. I have a video on how tapers affect speeds. I test out 3 different tapers. I do 20 to 12. I do 20. Sorry, I do 24 to 12. I do 25 to 15, and I do 25-18, I believe. And I test it with 2 different types of ammos, and you'll see how it works, how they affect out in that video. It might clear some things up a little bit. Hey, brother K, since you just arrived to the chat, basically I was showing my my collection of Snipersling frames, and for anybody else who's just arrived to the chat, I'll show you here. So basically, I got this guy here. It's the S Ace. We have the S Punisher. I have the S Airship. Nice little frame. I've got the S Robin. And I got the newest one to the collection, which was the S Vortex. Have a look at that beauty. Seems to be a little bit, maybe we'll call it a little bit small, but actually my hand fits on it pretty well, and it shoots nice. But the forks are so close to my hand, I find I have to rotate the forks just a little bit. I have to cant them to get on target. Otherwise, I shoot a little bit left. Would I like slingshots as much if I didn't have a YouTube channel? Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say is actually having the YouTube channel and doing all these, oh, we got a bunch of dipshits coming in here, spamming my feed, looking for girls. I love that. We'll have to report those guys a little bit later. But yes, back to the question here. Would I like slingshots? Absolutely. Here's the thing. One of my 2 most favorite things to do is actually shoot things and fish and camping and that kind of stuff. I'm really into the outdoors. So anything that gets into the outdoors and I can do those things, I love it. So if we're talking, I don't know if you guys saw that video that I did where I went on that trip to Algonquin Park. I did 53 kilometers in the wilderness. That's my happy place. I even bought a slingshot. I brought a slingshot with me on that trip to do a review on it, but I just didn't have time. I was too busy, portaging, cooking, and by the time I got back to camp, I was just so tired. I just wanted to chill by the fire, talk with the boys, and get some sleep. But back to the question, I guess anything that gets me out shooting to have some fun is it. When I was a little kid, growing up, we had a bunch of firearms in the house. So my dad was a gunsmith. Worked with my uncle. We did a lot of shooting when I was young. Probably, maybe anywhere around 1,000 rounds per month for sure. Maybe even per week at certain times of the year. We did a lot of shooting with handguns and rifles, shooting tournaments, all that stuff. We ended up having to get rid of all of our weapons after bringing in a troubled family member. But from that point on, I ended up getting into archery for a while. Did archery for a while, but it got too busy at my club where there was just people, like 4 or 5 people shooting at the same target. It got to be too much. I got fed up and I left. I got into slingshots, but this whole shooting sport thing is for me. It's at my heart, to my core. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And then fishing. Well, fishing I've been doing since birth pretty much. I can sit there all day long and just shoot fish. That's it. I'm a simple guy, pretty much. Yep, I'm super excited for ice fishing season this year. I'm really hoping that I can land, uh, beat my personal record. I'm a muskie fisherman, so when ice comes in, late ice, I usually try to get out and get myself a monster muskie. My biggest one to date this year, or in 2017, we actually caught two muskie over 50 inches. I think it was 52 inches long. It had around a 22 or 24 inch girth. I don't know what the weight was, but it was a monster. Um, anyway, when it comes to ice fishing and summer fishing, I absolutely love it, and I'm hoping that this year I'll be able to beat my personal best on the ice and get something that's going to be like 54, maybe even 60 inches. That would be insane. Can we agree that there needs to be a standardized Spanish knockdown the public can order? Also, there's a specific YouTuber that got into the sport. Mine was Bill Hayes. Was there a specific YouTuber that got me into the sport? That's a good question. Who was I watching earlier on? I guess maybe my first, we'll call him celebrity shooter, was probably GZK. Um, man, yeah, it's probably GZK. I guess he was the guy that kind of inspired me to get into it. And then after that, I was I don't know. I can't think of any of the other guys that I was watching in the beginning. Probably Nathan Masters. A lot of the videos when I was first starting off was some Simple Shot and GZK. Probably my first two that really got me into it. Later on, I mean, I found Chris's channel, Chris Graffin, and I've been watching him for a long time. And then through Chris, I ended up finding Gamekeeper John because I heard him mention it. But yeah, those are pretty much the four guys that probably influenced me the most in videos. And then I started doing my own channel, or I think I started my own channel first, and that's how I got into that because basically my son was asking me what I used to do for fun when I was a kid, and we used to play war games with slingshots and paintballs, and we had those those Daisy wrist rocket type things with the tubes. We used to shoot each other with those, and we'd hide in the woods, and we'd get points for what we call a knife attack. Was a paintball in your hand, and you'd have to slap somebody with it, or we were shooting each other with slingshots or paint guns, paintball guns. And when they first came out, they were really not that good. You probably had like 20 to 30 feet before your ball started shooting off all over the place. But that's what we did. We played war games in the woods, and with paintballs and slingshots, and we ended up getting rid of the paintballs and slingshots, started shooting each other with pellet guns. We were idiots growing up in the hood, pretty much. But that's what we did. Yeah. Hey, brother K, like this pretty much sums up 2022 for me, brother. This is it. It's a fuck it year for me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. 2022 has been a giant mess. But anyway, yeah. Northeast slingshots, me too. Actually, I'm not much of a prepper, but I do believe in being prepared for some things, and for me, mostly it's about my skill set. I know there's a bunch of takes on the whole prepper situation. For me, I find anyway where I live, stockpiling like any kind of weapons and stuff like that, or even gear for that matter, to protect myself would be kind of futile because I always thought that the first thing that would happen is there'd be groups of people coming to steal my stuff. And living in Canada and having the laws that we have here makes it a little bit difficult to be able to protect yourself in that kind of case. So for me, it was about building my skill set, learning primitive trapping methods, hunting skills, all that stuff with a bow. With trapping was the main thing, and some other stuff. So I practiced, doing Paiute deadfall traps. I'm not going to say I invented some of my own, but it was basically trigger systems that would work on my own, cage traps to catch live birds, that kind of thing. I was really heavily into that stuff, making fire in a bunch of different ways. I mean, it even got to a point where I was jumping in water and going a little bit extreme in wintertime, jumping in water, trying hand drills and all that stuff. But those days for me are long gone. But having the knowledge to be able to procure food in different ways and creating my own fish traps and that kind of stuff to procure food became important to me. And I really studied that for many years. And anyway, the knowledge is there, the know-how is there, and that's what's important. And I think that's the most important thing, is being able to turn the tides if you need to. And anyway, I'm going to shut up about this. Yeah, I bet if you're living in the desert, you can shoot a slingshot a lot easier than you can fish. That's for sure. Yeah, that's something I would like to do too, is get myself a chunk of land. So if I ever needed to bug out somewhere, that would be it. Up here where we live, my bow hunting license allows me to use some snares for rabbit hunting and stuff like that. But for the most part, I need to have a trapper's license to use other devices and whatnot. Not the end of the world, but really, if I ever get stuck out there or whatever it is, use primitive trapping methods is actually a pretty good idea to learn. And if it comes to me dying of starvation or sticking to the laws, well, the laws screw themselves, if you ask me. It's definitely a good skills to learn. And I think when my son was around 8 or 9, I used to do these little tests with him on fire building. So I was teaching him how to use a ferro rod, and we basically took a 16-inch stick on either side of the fire with a rope, and it was something we used to do with the scouts back in the day. And we'd get them to make a fire and count how long it took for the fire to rise to actually cut the stick, cut the rope at a 16 by 16 frame. For example, we did this, and he learned that stuff. I think he cut his rope in a minute, a minute and 15 seconds, and he was about 10 seconds off of my mark, which was pretty damn good. So I was proud of him for that. After this one, the step up after that was to get a fire started, boil water, and set up a shelter in under 15 minutes. And he did this one as well too, which was pretty good. It's all about budgeting your time and not wasting your time doing other things. So we got him to prepare his wood, get everything ready. Ferro rod went in, got the fire started, put the cup, set up his tarp while everything was going. He did a great job. I was very proud of him. These were all drills that I used to do just to practice and get the scouts when I was a leader back in the day, to get the scouts up to form. And I passed those little drills off to my son. I don't know if he can even do it today. It's been a while since we've done it, but he's pretty good at that stuff. Hey, what's up, Tim? How you doing, bro? But my son also likes the outdoors quite a bit. I had him out in his for the first time for a wild camping overnighter not too long ago. Hey, take it easy, Northeast Slingshots. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Take it easy. No nukes yet. Yeah, had him out for his first wild camping trip a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't a bad experience, I think. We were up in bear country, so I wanted to get him out there just to see how he would react, even though we were in a controlled environment. But we were up in bear country. We did some outdoor cooking. We slept in hammocks. It got really cold that night. It went to -2 below zero. So he was set up actually pretty good, but it was me who screwed up. I didn't bring a proper slingshot, a proper sleeping bag for the weather. And I ended up having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get a fire started to warm up because it got too cold. But I was prepared for it. It sucks to be in a situation like that, but it's not the end of the world when you know how to warm yourself back up. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Try. You guys, you take care, and I'll see you again soon. Next time we do one of these live feeds, we're gonna do. We'll have a look at the at my Prime Fork collection. Take care and stay safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna call an end to this one. I gotta get some breakfast in me. It's already 2:40 in the afternoon. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet. But anyway, thanks a lot for coming out. We'll do another live video probably next weekend sometime, and I'll see you all again soon. So thanks a lot for watching. You guys get out and practice. Stay safe. Be good to each other. I'll see you again soon. I love you guys. You're freaking awesome. And thanks for stopping in today. It was a great afternoon. Take care.